Good evening and welcome to Kevin Bartlett Reserve, where it's round 9 of the Victorian Premier League and it's the Richmond Eagles entertaining Hume City. I'm Simon McCuskey and I'm your commentator for the evening, and what a game it shapes up to be. It's a 6-pointer. Richmond currently sitting on 8th on the table and Hume City in 6th, and it's a different run of form for both of these clubs leading into this game. Richmond have not won a game in their last 5 encounters. They've either drawn or lost games, whereas Hume, they started off the season slowly and have started to find a bit of a wet sail. They've won 3 out of their last 5, and their form away from home is looking good too. And just prior to the players coming out, we'll turn our attention to the lineups, and for the Richmond Eagles in goals, number 1, Stefan Gull; 2, Andrew Viola; 3, Erhan Karahan; 6, Tom Miladovic; 7, Timmy Purcell; 9, Michael Catalano; 10, Nick Marinos; number 12, Devon Bond; 14, Daniel Visovic; 18, Michael Ferrante; and number 23, Scott Muirhead. And for Hume City, in goals, number 1, Chris Oldfield; 3, Ben Harrison; 4, Izzy Erdogan; 5, Stephen Pace; 6, Sardar Purr; number 10, David Chick; 11, Nick Hegarty; 12, Jared Barnes; 17, Philip Ricobene; 22, Howard Van Dyke; and number 25, Attila Offley. And last week, Hume, one of the first major shocks for the season, knocked off the reigning champions, Green Gully, by a 1-0. It was Jose Guerrero in the 89th minute. The youngster, the Chilean international, came on late, and it justified new manager Lukashevsky, the former great goalkeeper at both a national and a state level, and finished his career off with Hume City, now finds himself managing Hume City. And it was a well-timed substitution because Jose Guerrero delivered the winner at the death to end Green Gully's good run of form lately. And as for Richmond, well, it couldn't have got any worse. They were away to the newly promoted Southern Stars, and they were in the box seat. Goals to Michael Catalano and Timmy Purcell, and they were 2 goals up, and the Southern Stars equalised in the 93rd minute. And just when Richmond were going to put an end to their form and finally register a victory, the Southern Stars cancelled that out. And as a result of that, Richmond's strong start to the season has come undone. They're currently sitting in 8th position. Hume City, on the other hand, had a slow start, sitting in the bottom 3 to 4 for a while, and their run of form of late has propelled them into 6th position, knocking on the door of the top 5, and they're currently out of the 5 on goal difference. Northcote City currently sitting in 5th position with 13 points, and it's already such an even Victorian Premier League this season, and it's one of the most even games that we've had to date. And we're nearly underway to kick off here at Kevin Bartlett Reserve. Hume City in their home red tops, even though they are away here at Kevin Bartlett Reserve. It is a Richmond home game between Shaw. There isn't a jumper clash. It will be the hosts, the Richmond Eagles, via Michael Catalano, to kick off proceedings as round 9 of the Victorian Premier League kicks off. And there is another game in progress, and what a game it will be too. Top of the table clash between the Thunder, Dandenong Thunder, and the Oakley Cannons, and that game is being played at Jack Edwards Reserve, and we'll keep you up to date with scores. Early attack. To no prevail for Hume. Miladovic. Two former teammates at St Albans there. Miladovic and goal. Back together with the Eagles. Visovic. What a season he's having too. Ironically, back from that solo year with St Albans Saints last season. He's found his touch again, no doubt about that. Barnes. Back with Gull. And nearly had that clearance there. Charge down. Risky move. And Hakan Anna's behind the whistle. As we mentioned last week in our game at George Andrews Reserve between the Thunder and South Melbourne. Congratulations to Hakan Annas. He's on his way to the Olympics, London 2012. One of 3 Australian officials in charge, officiating games. That ball deep over touch. Purcell, one of last week's goal scorers for the Eagles. We'll restart. And wherever you are worldwide, we hope you enjoy the live broadcast of the Victorian Premier League online. And thank you for the feedback that we have received a good third of the way into the season. And it's great to see that we're not only capturing a local audience, but as the statistics show, plenty of coverage and interest from viewers from Europe, the United States in particular. And we hope you're enjoying the best of what Australian football, let alone Victorian football, has to offer. Absolutely freezing Melbourne winter's night, first day of winter. And hence, a giveaway here for Scott Muirhead in the long sleeves. And he's in it for a reason. And so too that player in screen, Visevic. Freezing is a complete understatement this evening. A good 4 to 5 degrees. And the fog beginning to roll in at Kevin Bartlett Reserve. Stephen Pace. Plenty of experience in this Hume lineup. Both he and Izzy Erdogan, former Preston Lions teammates. Here's a chance here for Hume. Cut back in, and that should have connected there. David Chick. What a build-up there. Howard Von Dijk came charging in unselfishly there. Spotted Chick. Unmarked. And completely skewed that shot. Positive start this from Hume City. I'm sure Luciaszewski will be frustrated. Early chance wasn't capitalised on. Now Purcell against the run. Pace will guide this out. You mentioned Stephen Pace and Izzy Erdogan. Former Preston Lions players themselves. And they've both made the journey respectively over A-League clubs. Stephen Pace unfortunately rattled with injury, in particular with the Melbourne Victory. Izzy Erdogan. So too Tommy Miladovic, that little spell at Adelaide United. And they're back now playing Victorian football. And there's another man there, who could forget Sardar Pert, another member of that Preston Lions championship winning squad in 2007. Hume continue to attack. They're the form team, no doubt about it, the last 3 to 4 weeks. Erdogan back to Oldfield. 4.5 minutes old this contest. It's 0-0. If you're just joining the broadcast, Hume City having their second crack on goal, but yet to find the target, as we see in the replay. Flicked beautifully there, but the shot posing no problems there for Stefan Gale. 2 long-range efforts yet to find the target for Hume City. And on form, you think Hume are the favourites to win this contest, but just when you think one team is favoured to win, it's a lot harder to try and forge that result, as Hume found out last week, knocking off hot favourites in the champions Green Gully when everyone was writing them off. Hume press forward again. Chick, good defending there from the Eagles, but look at the numbers and how deep they're coming down for Hume. Good ball that from Pace, and the flag stays down too. Great chance this for Hume, and that should have been the opener again. This time Jared Barnes, that ball squared in. Great attacking football, as you'll see this ball whipped in. And how did Barnes not find the back of the net is beyond me. No pressure there, 6 yards out, only had to beat Gull. Place that shot wide. Hume could have easily and should be easily 2-0 up. Both Barnes and also Chick not finding a target, firing wide. Will these chances come back to haunt Hume? Only time will tell, but it's a positive start. And to the relief of Richmond, lovely flick. Attila Affleck whips his ball in, and another chance here for Hume. Will this one find the target? Gal did enough there, and it looks like Izzy Erdogan there came running down. We'll get that clarified in a moment, but once again, some basic checking there from the Eagles. And that's the third occasion. The midfielder unmarked on the edge of the box. And this time Gull was tested. That shot finding the target. And it looked like Ben Harrison that fired that in. In fact, Erdogan was deeper. Great crack there from Harrison, and it brought the best out of Gull. And remarkably, this match is only 7 minutes old, and Hume could have had 3 on the board. And this time they found the opener, and it's richly deserved, beautifully flicked home there from Jared Barnes, the corner, and the marking yet again from the Eagles, as we'll see. Jared Barnes there, the tall timber. It completely bamboozled Gull there, and in fact, it even bamboozled myself. I was expecting him to have pole position with that corner to tip the ball out. The ball went above his arms, but perfectly placed there for Jared Barnes. Hume City, well rewarded with the opener. They could have easily had 3, as we mentioned before, but they've got their first, and they've been rewarded with attacking football. Jared Barnes, beautiful finish there on the near post for him. And Hume City, the visitors, have the advantage over the Eagles, leading by a 1-0. Viola just getting a nudge there. And although we've had a score here at Kevin Bartlett Reserve, just to inform you, no score yet at Jack Edwards Reserve between the Oakley Cannons and the Dandenong Thunder. And you can jump on the Football Federation of Victoria Twitter or Facebook pages and track the latest news and results. Get the starting squads, team sheets, and live scores too. And once again, plenty of football played on this half of the ground, to the worry of Mike Chatzidifronis, the Richmond Eagles coach. By that run from Purcell, the ball barely seen in Hume City's half. And once again, Hume pressed deep into Richmond's half. Solid challenge there from Cudahan. He poses a problem. Attila Offley, plenty of pace. And his corners, in fact, will be a throw. And apologies too if the vision is partially blinded because of the grandstand. Milanovic combined with Ferrante. And these two men combined have had plenty of the football. Harrison and pace. Easy pickings for Hume thus far. In the box seat, leading by 1-0. Could easily be 3 or 4 goals to nil, for that matter. And as Richmond settle down, if they get the chance, it'll be interesting to see if these chances or previous chances haunt Hume. Muirhead can score from these positions. Well, spoke too soon. Normally finds the target from long range. Scott Muirhead. Richmond's first foray up front. It'll be a shot, but not on target. Van Dijk Well won there. Chick is from Norwich. He's made the trek to play football in Australia. And good on him too for giving Hume a chance. He's been a great signing since arriving at the club this season. Hegarty looking for assistance, and this time the Eagles more coordinated in defence. Cutting off supply there. Viola. Well defended there from Erdogan. Here's Offley looking for the 1-2, but there's runners wide. And yet again, this attack looking dangerous for Richmond. Good ball in from Purr. And it's an unmarked back post. Rico Bene just couldn't keep that shot down. And Mike Chatzitifronis would be ripping his hair. The marking, particularly on the edge of the box for Richmond, as we saw there from Rico Bene, unmarked, unchallenged, just had to keep that down, and that would have tested Gal yet again. Milatovic. Lovely touch from Bon. Here's Catalano. The Eagles need a spark. It's been one-way traffic. One of the rare occasions Muirhead shot. The ball has come down this end of the ground. Visevic. And unfortunately the flag up, and it's that man Visevic in an offside position. Instantly called by the assistant. There's a fine line in it too from here. Looked like he just measured his run on time, but not to be. And there you go. Just to sum up, Hume's dominance. Chris Oldfield being one of his first touches of the football for the game. And it's the touches he'll like. It's a goal kick. And Hume looking powerful in the air too. There's another header won by Barnes, but it's another offside call, this time against Hume. Goal. Maybe forced to go long. Now this could put Milatovic under a spot of bother, but he'll need to clear along this time, you think, Gal. And he does. And a bit of luck there for the Eagles. That ball spilling wide to Muirhead. They need to make the most of it too, to find an avenue back in this contest. And well, Catalano there, he may have an argument there. Let's have a look. And it was off the arm, in fact. Well, great call there from Hakan Anas. I had a good look at that too from the naked eye and thought it was unintentional. But that hand definitely impeded the flight of the football. And that's why he's off to the Olympics, Hakan Anas. He's making the correct calls, unlike me in the box. Lovely touch yet again. He's looking good, Barnes. And this another promising move from Hume. David Chick. And the amount of time and space Richmond are allowing Hume to waltz into the box. They're having free rein at it at the moment. And another attack too. Rico Bene buying some space on the inside. Great ball in. Barnes with the turn. Great tackle there from Carahan. Great football all round. It all started there with Rico Bene. He found the room on the inside. It was a great ball there, supplied to Barnes. Lovely turn. Looked for the finish. And Carahan, talk about a perfect tackle. In particular, without conceding a penalty. Executed that perfectly and got the Eagles out of trouble. And it's amazing that the trouble's not, or the damage rather, isn't worse for the Eagles. They're only a goal to nil down and could easily be 4-5 at this rate. Chick. Lovely build up again, this too. The touch just letting him down. They look dangerous with the football, Hume, no doubt about it. Every time they've had it this evening, you know it's going to forge into an attack. Just a touch deep there for Marinos. It's good to see he's back fit too from Greece. What a play he was at Heidelberg United a few years ago. One of the reasons they qualified for that 2005 grand final against Green Gully. One of the early seasons they won promotion back to the Victorian Premier League, and a rare mistake from Muirhead. Just over a quarter of an hour played, 17 minutes to be precise, here in this round 9 Victorian Premier League clash between the Richmond Eagles and Hume City. If you're just joining our broadcast, it's Hume City with the football in the red kit, away to the Richmond Eagles playing at home. But it's the visitors, Hume, in the box seat, not only with possession but on the scoreboard, leading the Eagles by a goal to nil. And a quick update from Jack Edwards Reserve, another game to commence round 9, being played at the same time. It's 0-0. That top of the table clash between the Dandenong Thunder and the Oakley Cannons. And that's a must win for the Cannons at home. We'll get back to that in a moment. Catalano cutting it in. Here's a chance, and unfortunately for Richmond, that shot there from Devon Bond couldn't keep it down. And they're the chances the Eagles need to take. They haven't had much of the football, and they're looking for an avenue back in this contest. And getting back to that game at Jack Edwards Reserve between the Thunder and the Cannons. And 0-0 in that contest, but it's a huge game that will also shape the look of, in particular, the final 5. You really do think at this stage the Thunder and the Cannons, particularly with their track record the last couple of years, are in the box seat to secure early finals berths. And Oakley, if they could inflict the Thunder's first defeat for the season, will close that gap. And the Thunder have a 6-point lead on top of the Victorian Premier League table after round 8. And for the record, the Thunder with 22 points, the Cannons with 16. That gap will be closed. But plenty of time in that contest, and so too this one here at Kevin Bartlett Reserve, and it's another unmarked player, and what a beautiful finish, and that was superb from Nick Hegarty there. We talked about an unmarked player at the edge of the box, and what a beautiful cross there supplied. Hegarty finished that low with plenty of pace behind it, enough to get through the defences of Stefan Gale. And this is becoming an absolute rort here for Richmond. They really need to be careful. Hume are in absolute control of this contest, and they're leading Richmond by 2-0, and we've only played 20 minutes in this contest. Nick Hegarty with a beautiful finish and beautiful football all round. That ball, it was a great ball provided by Chick. Now Barnes, the goal scorer, is down behind play, and now Hakan Anas will seek some medical attention. And whilst we're receiving some medical attention on the ground for Daniel Chick, if we get the chance to put up that replay again leading up to the goal, we'll try to. But the assist leading up to that goal for Hegarty to finish was absolutely spot on. You won't see better crosses than that. Pinpoint, to say the least. Didn't even move off his spot there, Nick Hegarty, and the finish. Hume City are really looking dangerous, and this time Rico Bene, why not? He's tested Gale himself a few times, and when you're in this type of form that Hume are in, anything goes this evening. Milanovic Well, the old cliche in football, 2-0's a dangerous scoreline. But the problem is it's looking dangerous, even more dangerous for Richmond, because you just cannot find an answer as to how the Eagles are going to get back in this contest. They are being completely outclassed, and there was nearly a third there again. That ball whipped in from Hegarty. He is looking so sharp there on the left for Hume. And he and Harrison, in particular, causing grief for the Eagles on the left. So too this man with the football, taking the corner, and luckily for the Eagles, it's an infringement spotted. The delivery wide on either sides, or on either wings, for Hugh has been outstanding this evening. David Chick and also Attila Offley on the right. We mentioned Harrison and also Hegarty on the left. They've caused problems for Richmond. Not just wide, but then you look in midfield as well. And David Chick is pretty much dictating proceedings. And Howard Fondike too, working well, assisting. Look at that fog beginning to roll in. Lovely turn again. And what about that supply there from Barnes? Another chance here for Hume. Remarkable to look for a third. Offley can finish this. You knew exactly what he wanted to do there on the half volley. Spoke about that delivery wide. Check that out there from Philip Ricorbene, and Offley. No doubt it was the right intent. Wanted to have a good crack on the half volley and push it towards the far post. And several players, maybe the conditions, particularly the dew, making that a slippery football. And a few of the players just haven't connected from long range this evening. Miladovic, and this is summing up Richmond's night, just can't find an avenue, in particular through midfield. And no, ladies and gentlemen, if you think that we're playing a game of football on thermal springs, volcanic grounds, we're certainly not. It's just absolutely remarkable the amount of fog that's set in, particularly on the pitch, and every time that football bounces, bang, up comes another patch of fog. And it wouldn't surprise you, just from the look of it, you're on a thermal field of some sort. Was that a foul? No. Pace. Regain possession legally. Ricorbene, what a game he's had. So too, the entire Hume squad have been flawless in the opening 25 minutes. Good tackle there from Purcell. And good to see Richmond starting to put up a bit of a fight now. Making possession a touch harder. We'll give it a verbal warning. But we'll remind Nick Marinos that won't be tolerated again. Pace. Once again the marking. And this time it's Hegarty. And the goal scorer too, both he and Barnes. The goal scorers for Hume City, who are currently in the box seat, leading the Richmond Eagles by 2-0. And in reality, it's a sigh of relief for the Eagles, remarkably, because they really could have found themselves remarkably a good 4 to 5 goals down at this stage of the game. It's been a remarkable game thus far. And it's Hume again. Surging forward again, but once again, David Chick his third crack on goal. And the second one he couldn't keep down and has missed the target. And speaking of goals, give you an update at Jack Edwards Reserve, and it's the Oakley Cannons that have found the lead against the Dandenong Thunder. And it's Goran Zoric that scored the first, the former Springvale and South Melbourne footballer. Now with the Cannons. And the Cannons scored that goal just after 12 minutes. And the Thunder gave up their first points for the season last week, getting the equaliser late against South Melbourne. And what a run it was. 7 games without conceding a point. All victories registered. And just when you thought the Thunder were going to taste defeat for the first time this season, Nathaniel Foster came up with that equaliser in the 88th minute and rescued a late point for the Thunder. It's the first time they've points for the season. Will they be doing it again this evening? We'll keep you posted. Plenty of time remaining in that match. And so too this one. Richmond Eagles and Hume City. But it's the visitors, Hume, in control to say the least. Jared Barnes with the opener. And Nick Hegarty with a great finish. Driven low. And across the face a goal through Stefan Gull. And had Hume City, in particular, David Chick and also Attila Offley, kept a few of those shots down. The damage could be far worse for Richmond. Here's Von Dijk. And Luchesevski. Surely that was late now. Hakan Anas. Good refereeing. Wasn't going to pull up Hakan Anas for calling it late. He's obviously thought there may have been some advantage. The ball went out. Viola playing in his more accustomed position at right full back this evening. Mike Chatzidifronis using Viola at times in midfield during the season. And we have another update at Jack Edwards Reserve. Surprise, surprise, the lead for Oakley didn't last long. The Dandenong Thunder have equalised. And it's 1-1 at Jack Edwards Reserve. And back here at Kevin Bartlett, unable to connect. Attila Offley. Gal will recommence play. Exactly half hour played. And Kevin Bartlett Reserve. Hume City leading Richmond 2-0. Unable to hold a check. This is where Richmond have just struggled to break the midfield and down of Hume. They've opted for a long ball, but it's gone to nowhere in an attempt to break it down. One there by Cudahan. Marinos was offside. Missed by all, including Viola. Mopping it up, Bon. Milanovic, typical sweeper's kick to guide the Eagles out of danger. Milanovic again. And he'll clear again. Per has options too on the inside. Lovely movement of this football from Hume. And they have been switched on since minute 1. Per. Just a touch wide there. He wanted Barnes. Go. He's had plenty to do, particularly when he's side the Richmond Eagles are trailing Hume City by 2-0. If you've just joined our broadcast, goals to Jared Barnes, a great header flicked home on the far post in the 12th minute. And Nick Hegarty doubled the lead 10 minutes after. And Hume are simply in the driver's seat in this contest. It's going to take a lot for the Eagles to get back into it, but we've seen plenty of games of football, and ironically involving Richmond, where we have had tales of two halves. But it's going to take a gallant effort from Richmond, particularly with their form slump the last couple of weeks. They've drawn 3, lost 2, yet to collect maximum points in their last 5 outings. But it's a different story for Hume on the other hand. Going through a purple patch at the moment. Hume have won 3 out of their last 5. Another infringement spotted from Hakan Anas. Well, in fact, the ball went out. In fact, a few of the players confused too. Thought there for a moment the whistle went before the ball went out. Milanovic. Pace. And it is easy to lose this football in the Kevin Bartlett Reserve floodlights. We'll have just over 10 minutes remaining in this half. Hume City leading Richmond by 2-0. Meanwhile, at Jack Edwards Reserve, it's 1-1 between the Thunder and the Oakley Cannons. And you can keep abreast of all the scores via the Football Federation of Victoria's Facebook and Twitter pages. Round 8, in fact round 9 rather, Victorian Premier League football coming to you live. Friday night football from Kevin Bartlett Reserve. And what a night, a freezing Melbourne night to cap off the start of winter. And a great chance for Richmond now, certainly an infringement just outside the box on Nick Marinos. And the Eagles with a great chance to find an avenue back in this contest. They haven't had much of the football. Ferrante looks like he'll take it. In fact, he won't. Bending ball, the wall does its job, and Ferrante can't keep that down. Fires it wide. And a rare opportunity down the drain. That initial ball sent in from Vizovic. And the Hume defence doing its job. But Ferrante there couldn't mop it up. Viola. Nice touch again from Vizovic. A rare shining light for the Eagles this half. Per. And this man with the football spells trouble for Richmond. Offley. Lovely tackle there, rather. Purcell. One of the rare times Offley has been dispossessed with the football. He's had it all his way this half, just marching down, either assisting or nearly scoring himself on several occasions. Erdogan there with strength. But once again, the flag up. And it's Jared Barnes. Definitely the correct call from the assistant. Started that run late. For long. Ferrante. Well cut off there from Rico Bennett. Got there before Catalano could. Offley. Once again, trouble looming for Richmond. The touch. Just let him down there. Not enough on that to find Van Dijk wide. And it was a vital touch too there from Cudahan. He was in the right spot. Had to mark 2 on that occasion. And found himself in the right spot to thwart that attack and cut that feed. Harrison. Pressure there from Vicevic. We spoke about him being a shining light for Richmond this half. He has. What has rather been a bleak half for the Eagles. And it's the master up against the apprentice. And so far the apprentice, Luchesevsky, his inaugural season as coach of Hume City, up against the master in Mike Chatzidefronis, such an experienced manager. You ahead. What a bond. And that was late. Nothing more than that except a free kick. Hakan Anas agrees. Per. And Hume City are up by 2-0. The damage could easily be far greater. And not sure why he opted for a target in the box. They had plenty of tall timber waiting there, Per, but went for the transfer. In particular, Barnes was waiting there in the box. Can't fault Hume on their delivery this evening. They've found targets on nearly all occasions and they've been rewarded for it. Purcell. Richmond really need him to spark to find a lifeline back in this contest. Milatovic with the football. And look at the marking from Hume. So organised. Forcing Richmond wide again. They just can't find a way through. This time Erdogan out-muscling his opponent Marinos. He's won that battle. That could have been a late elbow. Catalano. Hakananas agrees there. Rico Bene. Down but not out. 5 minutes remaining. Surely won't be much stoppage time. And Hume will be more than delighted with this contest to date, but I'm sure also frustrated at the same time. They know the damage could have been worse and really have put this game to bed. And as silly as it sounds, Richmond not out of it, but they're going to have to prove their worth if they're to do so, and that's a good run from Marinos, but in fact he does keep it alive. Richmond needs some targets in the box. The only one there was Bond, but he had two to beat. Cleared there by Izzy Erdogan. Milanovic. Speak about that pressure from Hume. And it's paid off, in particular, from Offley. But per all that hard work undone, Hume get it back. Can they find a third? There's only 3 minutes remaining before half-time will be signalled. Or can Richmond, against the odds, peg one back and give them some momentum and a ray of hope leading into the second half? Ferrante. Muirhead. One of the rare times too, Richmond have strung some passes together without getting caught out. Catalano just kept it alive for the Eagles. On the turn, Visevic. It looks slick. Once again, both teams struggling to keep long-range shots down. And Oldfield will recommence play. And just to give you a quick update, scores remain unchanged at Jack Edwards Reserve in that top of the table clash between the Thunder and the Cannons. At Jack Edwards Reserve, 1-1. That game stands leading into half-time. Here, it's the visitors, Hume City, in the box seat against Richmond, leading by 2-0. And just a reminder too, that next week there is no Victorian Premier League football, and that is due to a public holiday in Victoria over the long weekend. And round 10 in 2 weeks' time will commence on the 15th of June. And for the record, the cameras will be at Northcote City Oakley Cannons in just over a fortnight's time for that game at John Cain Reserve. But, and he's got a point there too, Ferrante. Was that 10 yards? And he's looking at the linesman and also Hakanana's awfully winded from charging that ball down. But in Ferrante's defence, it was one of the marginal 10-yard distances from that set piece. And there you have it. Half-time is signalled here at Kevin Bartlett Reserve, and it's one-way traffic, all in the form of Hume City. It's the visitors leading the Richmond Eagles by 2-0. And for the record, the opener scored in the 12th minute by Jared Barnes, and it was doubled 10 minutes after in the 22nd. A great strike on the far post from Nick Hegarty, and Hume could have even had more on the board had they been able to keep a few shots down or actually try and test Stefan Gale. They fired several shots wide and the damage could have been far worse for Richmond, but it's not the case. It's Hume City leading the Richmond Eagles by 2-0. And please do join us in just over 10 minutes' time with all the action from the second half here at Kevin Bartlett Reserve. Welcome back to the second half here at Kevin Bartlett Reserve between the Richmond Eagles and Hume City in this Round 9 Victorian Premier League contest. And if you're just joining our broadcast, not only welcome, but the visitors who are just about to kick off this second half. Hume City in their red Guernseys that are in complete control of this contest, leading the Richmond Eagles by 2-0. And the damage should have been a lot worse for Richmond. Could have easily been 5 or 6-0 on the scoreboard. Hume squandered some shots, particularly from long range, and a few from the 6-yard box too. They just weren't able to finish. It's going to be interesting to see. A bit of relief for Richmond that the damage is only 2-0. They're not quite out of this contest yet, but they've got a long way to go. And the Eagles kicking from left to right on your screen. With the football over touch, Muirhead. Rico Burnett clearing for Hume. Cut off by pace. It's been solid too for Hume. Lovely touch. Visevic, the only shining light, you'd say, for Richmond in the first half. And Sardar Pert, it really is an experienced back four for Hume City. 3 championship winning players for the Preston Lions there. Erdogan, Pert and Pace. And throw in Harrison too, who's a solid left back. And Hume City are really beginning to find their mark in this Victorian Premier League season after such a slow start. Catalano. Well charged down there, but he'll have a bruise to show for that. Rico Burnett, speaking of championship winner with Green Gully, and also the Magic. Lovely turn. Holding it up, Marinos just needs some assistance. This is just summing up Richmond's evening. Haven't found an avenue through midfield and struggle to break down the Hume defence, and they're forced back again, and it could be a costly slip up this from the Eagles. And what about this run on the counter? Hegger, he's already scored one. Miscues himself, but he'll get a second chance. Cardahan clearing on the back post. Hakan Anna's thought about finishing that himself too, the referee. And charged down by Cardahan again. 2 good pieces of defending. The Eagles not out of danger yet. And looks like Cardahan is down there. Hopefully he's okay. And it looks so innocuous too. Went there for the challenge. Missed the football. Didn't collect his opponent or the football. Did he land awkwardly? I wonder what the issue is here, but hopefully, for Richmond's sake and Erhan Cardahan's sake, he's okay. And although he's been under the pump for the evening, he's come to the rescue at times, particularly that challenge on Jared Barnes, which should have gifted his second for the evening in the first half. Still looks a bit groggy there, Erhan Cardahan. And looks like he'll receive some treatment over the touch. And Hakan Anna's now giving the all clear for play to start. And here we go, some confusion between Gale and Viola. In fact, that's apologies there because I've been obstructed with where we were commentating and I wasn't sure if that went in or not. And somehow Hume City have missed a golden opportunity to be 3-0 up. How did he miss that there, Jared Barnes? And what a complete fast that entire piece of play was. Cudahan thought he was going to go off for some medical treatment. Gale kicked the ball to him. It wasn't the best kick to Cudahan. And it was intercepted there by Barnes, and an open goal loomed, and he couldn't finish it. Remarkable piece of play all round. And that really does sum up both teams' night. Richmond have been unorganised, and Hume unable to finish, despite being 2-0 up. One by Milanovic. Here's Von Dijk. Cut off by Visevic. Needs to be precise. And flirting with danger there, Oldfield. Felt like that was more for Stephen Pace to deal with than Chris Oldfield, but it paid off for Hume. And we'll see here that collision just landing awkwardly. There, Tommy Milanovic, he's got up in one piece. Just over 50 minutes lapsed, 5 minutes into this second half. 50 minutes overall. And it's Richmond Eagles 0, Hume City 2. In reality, Hume, if you add that chance to Jared Barnes only minutes ago, really should be 6 or 7-0 up. Can the Eagles find a way back? Well held by Oldfield. And taken quickly too. This burst of pace. Hegarty. Cut off by Cudahan. Another vital touch. And Hume have been so dangerous along the flanks. And if they keep playing this level of football throughout the season, you can absolutely throw them into the championship mix alongside Dandenong, Oakley, Green Gully and South Melbourne when they get a few players back as well. It really is such an even competition this season. We just got a bird's eye view of the crowd there along this media or grandstand side. It's a healthy crowd too at Kevin Bartlett Reserve. The bulk of the crowd in the club rooms seeking some warmth from what is, as we mentioned, a freezing Melbourne winter's night. Gale. I'm not sure if he was communicating there with Muirhead, but he did the clearing there. It will be another corner for Hume. And the crosses and the corners have troubled the Eagles all night. It's exactly how Hume scored their first. Gale misjudged the corner. And it set up Jared Barnes with the header to finish. Offley giving the 10 yards now. And you can just see that fog and steam radiating not only off the pitch but the players. Just gives you an indication of how cold it is this evening. And in defence of the players, just how slippery that football is. Both teams, a flag up again, struggling to control shots on goal, particularly from long range. And we'll see that call for offside. Not much in it, but the assistant on the mark. Oldfield will restart. Barnes, lovely flick to set up Hegarty. There's a rare cross astray from him and Hume this evening. And he's so strong there, as you saw on the replay. Jared Barnes rather. That's been his strength this evening. He laid that on a plate wide for Hegarty. And the shot is straight. And Hume have not relinquished on the pressure. They just kept piling and piling on the Eagles in the first half. And the story hasn't stopped in the second. 55 minutes old, this game. And it's Hume leading Richmond by 2-0. And just a quick update from Jack Edwards Reserve. It's 1-1. That game still locked between the Oakley Cannons and the Dandenong Thunder. For the record, Goran Zoric equalised, in fact scored first for the Oakley Cannons in the 12th minute, and it was cancelled out in the 26th by Luke Sherburn. In that game, that Jack Edwards Reserve top of the table clash, so much riding on that as well as there is here for Richmond and Hume City. You feel the winner is in a box seat to really start shaping their season and be a contender for a final spot. The loser has a bit of chasing up to do and falls behind the pack. And as for Oakley and the Dandenong Thunder, a great chance for Oakley to cut Dandenong's margin or lead on top. Down to 3 points. Should they inflict the Thunder's first loss for the season? Now, that nearly spelt trouble there, that tackle between Offley and Cudahan. Richmond just need to maintain possession. They've struggled to do so for the bulk of this game. Miladovic. Lovely tackle. And they need more of that, Richmond. Purcell. It got a deflection. And we'll see there that shot from Purcell. Did it get a deflection off a Richmond shirt? Well, thought that got a touch from Stephen Pace, and he's a relieved man. I think that should have been a corner for the Eagles. And Nick Marinos actually pointed to Hakan, and as he wasn't sure himself, he was blinded whether that got a touch from Pace or not. Cudahan lost it. Good tackle there, Purcell. And it's a Richmond throw-in. Bond. Pace, yet again, so powerful in the air. And he does have an advantage over Marinos. And this contest just starting to get a touch physical. Definitely more intervention from Hakan Anas this half. He really had much to do in the first, and hence we saw no stoppage time. 45 minutes exact. And the first half was called to an end. But we'll definitely see a minute or two stoppage time at least, particularly with the injury or the stoppage in play to Erhan Cudahan. And he's also had a few calls to make, contentious ones too, Hakan Anas in this second half. Miladovic all over that in a dangerous situation. Made that look easy. Ball 2. Lovely transfer. And Stephen Pace, well. And as play continued, that ball was looking for Devon Bond. But I think a good sign that there may not have been much in it. The reaction from Marinos did not overreact one bit. And unfortunately, I was about to say that could have been one of the most remarkable own goals you'll see there from Richmond, conceded. Timmy Purcell there was looking to clear that out for a goal kick, and Stefan Gull, who has been under the pump all evening, has made a remarkable save to save the blushes there from Timmy Purcell and Richmond. And Hume have had an abundance of chances to score themselves, and unfortunately Richmond nearly did it for them. Hegarty. Well, it looked easy from up here, but you're not sure what Timmy Purcell was thinking there, looking to clear that out. And guided a cross goal for a corner. Not to be. Stefan Gull, instinctively and reactionary there, tipping that over the bar to the relief of Timmy Purcell and the Eagles. Had that gone in, really do think that would have been the nail in the coffin for the Eagles in this contest. Gull. Clearance is out of defence, troubling Richmond once again for the bulk of the evening. They really have just struggled to string it together. Taking away nothing from Hume, they have completely had Richmond's cover on all aspects of the pitch, defence, midfield and up front, and all aspects of the corridors too, whether it be down the line or wide. They've been in complete control, Hume. And this performance, you'd expect the margin to be greater, and that's the only saving relief for the Eagles to date. Cardahan will buy Gull some time. And the placement in the air again. First class from Hume. That instance, Von Dijk. Oldfield. And Mike Chatzidafronis looking at the bench, making his first substitution, and Ferrante coming off. He's been quiet for Richmond this evening, but in his defence, hasn't had much of the football, hasn't been serviced. And replacing Ferrante, he's one of the under 21 rising stars, Nick Kouratis. And the leading goal scorer in the competition for Richmond has made an impression, and a long range effort there. Not far off the mark from Jared Barnes. And Nick Kruzoratis, number 25, coming on, replacing Michael Ferrante. Good to see Mike Chatzidafronis giving the youngster a chance, who's been impressive at under 21 level. And speaking of under 21 football, Richmond have been impressive too. They knocked off league leaders Hume in the under 21s competition by 4-0 before the seniors came on the pitch, and that was without the services of Vic Koutsarathis, their leading goal scorer. Purcell, the pass letting him down. Rico Burnett has been sharp all evening. Well, the pass in that instance not sharp. He's got plenty of credits in the bank. Philip Rico Burnett. It's been a stellar performance this evening. And conditions getting even more tricky. The dew settling in. The fog getting thicker. And Richmond, with just over 25 minutes remaining, to find an avenue back in this contest, but you think where's it going to come from? They really haven't had much in this second half in terms of attacks. In fact, Hume Could have scored twice. Once Jared Barnes. And unfortunately for Richmond, Timmy Purcell nearly scored a cracker of an own goal. To the relief of a great save from Stefan Gale. The damage is minimised to only 2-0. Milanovic. Visevic. That man again screening everything. Rico Bennett was obstructed by Visevic, and the first yellow card issued for the game. Daniel Visevic was in the path there, and in the path there. Whilst we wait for play to restart. It's 1-1, still in that contest between the Oakley Cannons and the Dandenong Thunder. And the placement, aerial placement there from Barnes, exceptional. And that should have been another goal to Hume. How many times have we said that this evening? This time Daniel Cheek couldn't keep the header down. And it all started there. What about that header there on a plate from Jared Barnes, whipped in from Nick Hegarty, and David Chick just couldn't reward Hume and finish that great piece of play off. And they really are making this game look so simple and putting plenty of definition on why football is such a beautiful game. The passing movement, the crosses, just the sheer organisation of Hume has been first class this evening. The only blight, the finishing. And we nearly could have had double digits for Hume had they converted all their shots on goal. And it would have been back to the good old days when Australia was in the Oceania Football Confederation. Attila Offley taking no risks there. It looked like it was going to be a dangerous challenge there on Milanovic, in fact on Muirhead. Once again Hume on the counter. Barnes. Now Tommy Milanovic. It's just a question of what colour the card is, and luckily for his sake it's a yellow. Completely premeditated. And he had to be careful there. Tommy Milanovic. Frustration creeping into his game. And after being such a relatively clean and free-flowing game of football, some blemishes on that record the last 5 minutes. Visevic and now Milanovic in Hakan Anaz's book. And as you can see on the cameras, check out the steam coming off. This time pace. Not enough on it for Chick. And just a bit of spite creeping in this contest. That challenge from Milanovic sparked both teams off. Cannell. Liam Cannell getting one of his first touches since coming on. And we did miss that substitution, but it looks like he's come on, Liam Cannell, for Andrew Viola. Number 2 for the Eagles. Purcell. Visevic. What a Muirhead on the turn. And he's been everywhere this evening. Attila Offley, attack in defence. And it's going to be the perfect counter-attack. Well, spoke a second too soon. Barnes offside. Now, Hakan Anna's having a chat to the assistant. And they're looking in the direction of Luke Chesevsky and the Hume bench. And Hakan Annas is going in that direction now. Now, someone looks like they're receiving their marching orders, and they've actually been sent off. Well, it looks like one of the Hume coaching assistants has been sent off by Hakan Annas, obviously for dissent, either against he or the match official there, the linesman on the side. And you don't see it often, but it must have been an extreme case to warrant it. Purcell. Legitimate tackle. And the closest position we're ever going to get to a throw before a corner could be taken, but before the corner, in fact before the throw is taken, substitution made for Hume City, and it's Petseseveski, another former Preston Lion, coming on and coming off. David Chick, a serviceable game. He's only blemish. He should have had a goal or two to his name and make that at least 3 or 4 others for Hume that should have had a goal or two to their name as well. But a very serviceable game. The man from Norwich, David Chick, and Petseseveski, more experience coming on for Hume. And you know you've got some depth when you can bring the likes, former captain and championship winning player, onto your team late on in a contest. And speaking of the devil, he gets his first touch, Seveski. Pisevic, good defending there. As we said, that yellow card is only blemish to date. Rico Burnett. And Luchesevski has built this fallen short. Seveski. And that fog becoming worse and making conditions nearly impossible to see on the opposite flank. And this is from the media broadcast end. Stephen Pace made his claim and won the battle for possession. Cardahan, and didn't place in the right position there for Gull. He's miscued. And that just sums up Richmond's evening. Nothing has gone to plan for the Eagles. Seveski. Hegarty. Hakan Annas just overruling the assistant. And in defence of Hakan Annas was the correct call. And the assistant initially awarded a Hume throw. The right call was made. Richmond got it. But once again, haven't held possession for long. And, well, if this does fall to Attila Offley, you can nearly claim it as the perfect cross coming in there from Nick Hegarty. He wanted a crack. He absolutely butchered it. Offley couldn't get there. But once again, the football would be an absolute nightmare to control with this dew and fog that has set in deep at Kevin Bartlett Reserve. I think at this stage there's only 15 minutes of agony remaining for Richmond. Surely a foul on Erhan Karahan. And it's going to require an absolute miracle for the Eagles to at least salvage a point, or to be really dreaming maximum points. Hume just looking for that final nail in the coffin. Hegarty again on the rebound. It's a good transfer too. Offley holds it. Not enough power on that strike, on that finish. The counter-attacking from Hume. And they've just completely ripped Richmond apart in every aspect of this contest except on the scoreboard. Scoreboards are deceiving at times. Sometimes 2-0 victories are well earned and hard to get, but this one in essence should be 6 or 7-0 for Hume. Karahan. Once again, just the movement and the control. And Pert will combine just inside his box there with Chris Oldfield. Pace at the challenge. Beat 1. And beat 2 for that matter. Won the possession for Hume. And just a quick score update from Jack Edwards Reserve between Oakley and Dandenong. Scores locked at 1-1. Still, there's just over 15 minutes remaining in that contest as well. And here at Kevin Bartlett Reserve, Hume City, you're just joining our broadcast, welcome. Hume City, the away team in their red kit, are up. The visitors are up. Hume City against Richmond by 2-0. And 2 games to kick off round 9 this evening of the Victorian Premier League. And we will have a bye next weekend in the competition due to a long weekend in Melbourne, in Victoria for that matter. And ironically, it's a Queen's birthday weekend, long holiday. And it's an irony too, when the Queen's birthday isn't actually in June, it's in April. So someone got the calendar wrong there when setting the public holiday. But just like any worker, I'm sure they'll take it with both hands. But back to the football. Richmond, can they make a dint on the scoreboard? Hakanana's spotting an infringement. They won't get that chance, the Eagles. Exactly 12 minutes of ordinary time remaining. We'll have a few minutes of stoppage time. And getting back to that break next week in the Victorian Premier League. The competition will resume in a fortnight's time. In round 10, we'll see our live broadcast at John Cain Reserve. Northcote up against the Oakley Cannons. And if history has anything to do with this contest in 2 weeks' time, you know you're up for a cracker. Both of these teams in the past have delivered high-scoring affairs. Richmond with the ball whipped in. Only there on the back post was Harrison. And from long range, got a few deflections there. A little bullet fired in there from Tom Milatovic. And it was enough to trouble Oldfield. And remarkably, Chris Oldfield really, with his first decent or only save in this game. And it's taken just on 80 minutes to do so. Richmond finding a spring of life in this game. But is it too late in the contest? Trailing by 2-0. Saveski. Milatovic. Purcell through some traffic and surely a foul. Saveski was late. Going to be taken again, obviously. 10-yard clearance not given. And now Hakananas allowing another substitution to occur for Hume City. And it's last week's goal scorer, Jose Guerrero, who came on at the 11th hour and gifted Hume City a late winner against the champions Green Gully. He's come on, number 8. And it's Attila Offley. What a game he's had for Hume. And can Guerrero score for the second week running, the Chilean international. Visevic. Too deep for all. The frustration there from Canal. Oldfield. Straight to Cudahan. But once again, Richmond struggling to break down this Hume City midfield. Hegarty whipped in. Gull was nearly going to let off some frustration there. On the mark in that instance, Stefan Gull. Too wide for Maronos. What about that back heel there from Hegarty? And the beauty about watching him this evening, even those back heels from Hegarty, each player knows exactly what their role is and exactly where they're going to be. One step ahead of the play. It really has been a team effort. Hume with another set piece. Can they find a nail? An official nail in the Richmond Eagles coffin? And they are in the driver's seat to collect all 3 points. The story of the game, you really can't see Richmond making an impact or an indent on the scoreboard. But funnier things have happened in football. You really feel a third goal will be beyond the reach of Richmond as another substitution's made. It's Timmy Purcell coming off, number 7 for the Eagles. And it's Josh Quayfor, okay, number 17, replacing Timmy Purcell. Gull, once again, clearing in the nick of time. Pressure from the strikers has been exceptional, but as a result, as you saw, Jared Barnes just couldn't be involved in that play. He would have been caught offside, but he can now. Solid challenge there from Milatovic. Had a chance here to get his second. Pace. Lovely transfer. And making up some time there, Muirhead. And he ran his opponent down. Guerrero made up plenty of ground there. But the challenge was illegal, as deemed by Hakananas. And it's going to be a raffle for this set piece. Sadar Pert looks like he wants it. And Saveski will bow. In fact, Barnes is going to take it. Barnes through the wall. Pose no trouble for Gull. Wide there of the far post. As you see, Barnes found an avenue through, but just wide of the target. And you feel it's a formality now. Hume well on their way to collect all 3 points, but if Richmond were in a position to score, it would be an extremely interesting 4 to 5 minutes, considering that they really haven't threatened Chris Oldfield and the Hume goal all game. Milanovic with an advance. Cruzoratis can't draw the corner. And looking at a live ladder, mind you, this is one of 2 games to commence round 9. And Hume City, what a 3 points this will be. And they will go into outright third on 16 points. But that all depends on the result at Jack Edwards Reserve. We'll get back to that in a moment as another attack for Hume is forged. Guerrero lays it off. Gull. And that shot coming in from Von Dijk. And Hume have really deserved a third goal. They've done all the attacking, applied all the pressure, and this time Guerrero cutting it into Von Dijk. It brings out another good save in Stefan Gull. The first would have been a terrible own goal from Purcell earlier in the half. Hume City with another corner and another free header. Mike Chatsi-DeFrontis there would be furious. Jared Barnes, the tall timber, completely unmarked there. Just couldn't keep it down. And the target, mind you, was missing too. Wide of the mark. And getting back to that live ladder, should the result at Jack Edwards Reserve stay the same, and it's currently locked at 1-1 between Oakley and Dandenong. That will mean Oakley collect another point. They're on 17, meaning they'll be outright second, but Hume will go and slot perfectly into outright third. But I'm sure Bentley and Green Gully will have a say to ensure that they can claim back third position after the completion of round 9 of this competition. And Archie Tomic coming on. For Hume City. Carnahan just being reminded of where to take the throw. In fact, it's Muirhead. Apologies. Erdogan in a tussle and clears. Thanks a handball turned out from Hakananas. Milatovic. With some vision too. Muirhead needs to find a target. Can't do so. Rico Bene clears. And it's a case of too little, too late as we enter stoppage time for the Eagles. Finally beginning to hold the football and beginning to test the Hume fence and Chris Oldfield. It could be a case of too little, too late. Here's a chance. Marinos fired it wide. And surely that was the last roll of the dice for Richmond. Had to score and then rely on trying to get another one in stoppage time. And you think it's a case now of Hume City milking down the clock. And I think that was a signal there from Hakan Anas. We'll have a minute or two of stoppage time. Looking at his assistant, Carahan, clearing it before Guerrero could get there. Solid performance from Carahan. Just when you thought he was going to succumb to injury early in the second half. Goal. And no keeper is happy conceding a goal, particularly two for his liking this evening. But I'm sure he's aware the damage could be a lot worse, and Richmond need to contain the damage. Hume on the attack again. Just been so hesitant with the football. Found it difficult. Richmond breaking down a highly organised Hume outfit this evening. Lovely touch. Cruzoratis, you can see exactly why he's been given a berth in the seniors this evening. On the turn, Josh Kwefuoke. Lovely first touch once again. Couldn't keep it down. Bang, controlled it and laid it on a plate to finish on the half volley. The height troubled Josh Kwefuoke. Hakan Anas looking at his watch. This game, you think, will be coming to a close any second now. Richmond through Marinos. Muirhead. A chance now, unable to connect. Cruzoratis, and there you have it. That's the last roll of the dice for the Eagles, but it's not enough, where Richmond at home have been completely outclassed by a highly talented and organised Hume City outfit this evening. And it's the visitors, Hume City, that run out triumphant winners over the Richmond Eagles by 2-0. And there were 2 goals in the first half. That was the difference in this contest, and the damage could have been a lot worse. Goals to Nick Hegarty and Jared Barnes, the difference. And that result sees Hume City propel even further higher to the lofty heights of the echelon of the Victorian Premier League table. They'll be sitting in 3rd position after tonight's game for starters, but depending on other results to conclude round 9 of the Victorian Premier League, should Bentley and Green Gully sweep, Hume City, remarkably, after such a slow start this season, could be sitting outright in 3rd position on the table, because we do think that full time has been signalled as well at the game between Oakley and Dandenong, which has run out 1 goal apiece, which means Oakley, with that extra point, do sit outright on 2nd position on the Victorian Premier League table. As for Richmond, they'll have their heads down, but they'll have a fortnight to rebound, because there will be no competition in the Victorian Premier League next week due to the public holiday, and round 10 will kick off in a fortnight's time, and our cameras will be at Northcote City on Sunday the 17th of June for the big match up against the Oakley Cannons. But until then, it's good night here from Kevin Bartlett Reserve, where the Richmond Eagles have lost to Hume City by 2-0. I'm Simon McCuskey. It's a good night wherever you are, and we'll see you again in a fortnight's time for more Victorian Premier League football online. Good night.